Hello there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm back again. Still trying to sort out the echoing in the background, so apologies if this sounds a bit tinny. As you may or may not know, I've been moving house recently, so new room, still trying to sort a few things out, waiting for some sound reflecting stuff to appear. But anyway, we're back, and because I've caught up a little bit, we've got a lot more of the Tarkir Dragonstorm cards available now to talk about, but I caught the eye of this one today. So the second video for my new Tarkir Dragonstorm series is going to be Kotis, the Fangkeeper. One black, green and blue, so Sultai Commander, Zombie Warrior, Indestructible, is a 2-1. Okay, but whenever Kotis deals combat damage to a player, exile the top X cards of their library where X is the amount of damage dealt. You may cast any number of spells with mana value X or less from among them without paying their mana cost. Right then, bit different for a Sultai one. You know, it is a zombie, so you know usually we have zombie synergies and all the rest of it in Sultai, but this one's really about dealing damage. And I'm going to be honest, I've gone off the deep end with this. Curve isn't particularly good, but we have gone off the deep end because one of the easiest ways to pump power and toughness without using +1/+1 counters, which I've tried to avoid mainly today, is equipment. So here we go. This is what today's deck looks like. So starting at being, we've got 23 creatures in the deck. Birds of Paradise to help us do the mana ramping side of things. Deathrite Shaman just lets us exile people's cards to get mana, or lands to get mana, or exiles instant sorceries, so if everyone loses 2, we can exile a creature card to gain 2. It's a nice all-rounder for this sort of deck. Hex Drinker's in because I wanted something that's quite good fun. It has protection from instants and sorceries. This one has protection from instants, and then if we can get to level 8+, which we should be able to eventually with this deck, protection from everything becomes a headache for everybody. Bristling Bill's one of the few ways we've got to chuck around +1/+1 counters today. Sylvan Carotid helps us ramp. And then we've got Glob, Calamity's Augur. We've got quite a few spells that cost 4 or more, so this may be quite useful to play things off the top of our library if we need to. And the Surveil 2 potentially helps. It's going to help in something else later in the week though. Kadoma of the West Tree, like this card. We get in with our modified creatures, and because we are playing so much equipment, we'll be able to find basic lands. We are playing 4 of each in the deck, so we should get there. Nissa, Resurgent Animus, gives us a bit of a boost with the land when we do the whole landfall trick. Savannah gives us even more mana because we should hopefully have the biggest creature on the board. Have enough mana to tap for 1 and have something big and troublesome to give us a whole load of mana. Rave, the Tithe Extractor, comes in from Foundation's Jumpstart. I like this one. Whenever you attack, target creature gets Death Touch, which makes Kotis a little bit more painful to block. And then whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage, you get a treasure token, exile top card of that player's library, and you can cast it. Just pay the mana though. Temporal Oziwog. You're probably wondering why this is here. It's got Adapt 2, which is fine. Gives itself some +1/+1 counters. But I wanted a way to find Trample, and this is just a bit of a strange one. You know, a 4 mana 4/4 common, but it does say all modified creatures you control have Trample, so you get your damage through. A little bit of fun. The Wise Mothman appears just because, well, we're in Sultai and I like the Mothman. But we do have Felix 5 Boots in the deck because we do want to double up on our combat triggers if we can. And hopefully a couple of hits with Kotis will get us there a little bit quicker. Overlord will Hauntwoods in just so we can do the impending and get the Everywhere land. Sabsuin Luxor Embodied is here just because, well, it's Sabsuin. I'm in the right colours, so it's here. Sinian and Calamity, I do enjoy the Myriad to blow up the enchantments and artifacts that when we get the combat damage in. Conclave Siege Captain is just another way of giving around some +1/+1 counters, and again I think it's a great green card, hence it appears in a lot of my green decks at the moment. Cannon Capioneer, we have enough ways of casting artifacts each turn to make this unblockable and get the damage in, and Ward Ford is very hard for people to deal with, I've found. Muldrotha, the Gravetide, is also in because we want to cast some of the things from our graveyard each turn if we can. And then some of the more common Sultai creatures you see, Avenger Zendikar, Coma, Cosmos Serpent, and then a couple of ones you don't see that often. Shriekwood Devourer, just so we can untap our lands, and with the greatest power, so that sounds good. And one of the new cards that's coming in with our Tarkir Dragonstorm Commander set is Colossal Grave Reaver. I saw this, I thought, yeah, this is a bit of fun. 6 black and green for a flying dragon. Whenever this creature enters or attacks, we get to mill 3. But whenever one or more creature cards are put into our graveyard from our library, we get to put one of them on the battlefield. Yeah, seems like a good way of getting creatures back. We're only playing 23 in the deck, plus the commander. Sorceries. Yep, we've got the ramp selection in. So Farseek, Nature's Law, Sylvan Scrying, 3 Wizards. Another new card comes in from our new set. It is Lion Weight. I quite like this one. Black, blue and green for a creature. Return target creature card from our graveyard to our hand, and then it deals damage to... Lion deals damage to that card's power to target creature. So a little bit of spot removal, which is a bit unusual in this colour, so that's fine. Damnation for some board control. Another old card, Mythos of Brokers, coming back from Ikeria. So it's all, if you 2 green and green, you can return up to 2 permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. That's fine. But if we use some of the 2, if the 2 is actually black and blue, we get to search our library for a card and then put that card into our graveyard and then shuffle our library. So maybe something we want that's a permanent, and then we can make sure it's in the graveyard to return when the second part of the spell triggers. So I figure it's worthwhile. Shamanic Revelation hopefully gives us some card draw and some life. And then the other card that a lot of people are talking about, I think it's good. I'm not sure many people do, but I actually quite enjoy this. Death Begets a Life. 5 and Sultai mana for a sorcery that says destroy all creatures and enchantments. And then you get to draw a card for each permanent destroyed this way. Okay then, we'll do that. There's no problem with that. Right. Artifacts, this is where we really do start to look at the power of Kotis, because we want this bit, exile the top X cards to your library or X amount of damage dealt. So we've really gone for it this one, and this one I've gone off the deep end. 24 artifacts in the deck, which is unusual for me. One of which is not Elixir of Immortality, though you can swap things out and put it in if you like having Elixir in, like I usually do. But we've got Basilisk Collar for some Death Touch and Lifelink fun. Rope comes in from the clue set because it means our creature can't be blocked by more than one creature, so makes it a little bit more tricky to block Kotis in the first place. Shadow Spear for the trample, lifelink and the extra pump on the power. Soul Ring, Arcane Signet for the ramp side of things, and then we start hitting equipment. So Black Blade Reforged, +1/+1 for each land we control, equip legendary creature 3. Brotherhood Regalia is just key. I'm going to say, if you get this out and you get this on Kotis and you manage to keep this in play, you're going to have a really fun time, because this means that Kotis cannot be blocked and it has War 2. So, even exile effects make it really difficult to deal with. We have got one of each of the medallions, so here is Emeralds here to start off with. Then we've got Hero's Blade. Legendary creature enters, gets plus, just auto equip it. So, this comes into play turn 2. Play Kotis maybe turn 3 if we're lucky, turn 4. And you've got a very big 5/3 creature already ready to go. Jet Medallion, Sapphire Medallion, said they were all here. Ways to make things unblockable. So Swiftfoot Boots gives us not unblockable, sorry, hexproof and haste for this one, which really basically means Kotis never leaves the board unless they kill the Swiftfoot Boots. Trailblazers Bloots, who doesn't play non-basic lands in Commander nowadays? So this is a nice way of making sure we get through with Kotis. Champion's Helm gives us the lovely side of hexproofing it as well as +2/+2, because it will go on Kotis. And then we have all of the traditional swords: Sword of Body and Mind, Feast and Famine, Fire and Ice, Frontier and Forge, Hearth and Home, Light and Shadow, Sinew and Steel, and Truth and Justice. It just means that we pump our Kotis up by +2/+2 and get an effect when he gets through. And the chances are, because you've got all these here, you'll be able to get Kotis in against one of your opponents quite happily with the protection side of things. Whisper Silk Cloak gives us another way of making Kotis unblockable. Just be careful because of the Shroud ability. It's not hexproof, it's Shroud. So if you put this on Kotis before you put anything else on it and you haven't got another creature in play, you've got a problem, because you can't equip anything else to Kotis. And then for a bit of fun, going back to Ether Drift, sorry, we've got the Ether Spark in. So have the fancy equipment Planewalker. Enchantments, we have a few. One of the new ones, Hollow Merc Siege. red. No, let's try that again. Black and green. Choose Sultai or Asban when it comes into play. Asban, whenever if you do Sultai, whenever counters put on a creature you control, draw a card. Going to ignore that for this deck, to be perfectly honest. We're really interested in the Asban one. Whenever you attack, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature. It gains menace until the end of turn. Having this in play with Kotis attacking makes Kotis bigger and makes it even more difficult to block. Meat Hook Massacre, traditional, had to have this here. Ristic Study, just so we can get some card draw on the go. Sylvan Scavenging, so we can chuck around some +1/+1 counters, especially onto Kotis. Tribute to the World Tree, if it's in play, yes, it's difficult with a 3-colour good deck and triple green, I'm aware of that, but you get it in play and play Kotis. Kotis comes in as a 4/3 straight off. And then I haven't played it yet, and I want to have some fun with it. March of the World Ooze. Make all our creatures 6/6, and whenever an opponent casts a spell, if it's not their turn, we get an elephant token. It's basically, with this in play, a 6/6 elephant. I'm not complaining about this at all. I think it's good. Lands, the usual selection of blue, green and black lands you'd expect to say in any sort of deck. We are playing Field of the Dead, because I said we are playing 3 colours, and this always pops into every 3-colour deck I play just to give some extra creatures. Like I said, 4 of each basic. I will point out the fact that we are playing Inventors Fair because of all the artifacts we're playing, even though it says the Stark Expo on it, which is a little bit weird. Still can't get used to the fact that we've got Marvel things coming into Magic. But we have got enough artifacts in the deck that we should be able to gain a little bit of life. And, you know, there may be a specific piece of equipment we need to go and get at some stage. So, yeah, that's what it's here for. Beyond that, the other 2 cards I will point out. We didn't put Reliquary Tower in, mainly because I didn't want to for a change. Yes, we may be drawing a lot of cards, but hey, we'll deal with it without it. But we have got Herb Organ, and we have got Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth in to finish things off down the bottom here. And that's it. That is my take on Kotis, the Fangkeeper. I'm glad to see we're getting some more of the cards available to talk about now. Yesterday's deck Bellator from the Commander set, I will go back to at some stage. I know, I would have guessed there's been some comments by now about, oh, you haven't included any of the other cards. Yes, I'm aware of that. I recorded that a long time ago before I moved house. So that's been sitting there ready to go for a while. I will go back to him, but we've got the other Bellator in the deck to have a look at, in the main set at some stage to look at as well. So that will be happening. But for now, thanks for watching. Please, if you can, subscribe. 631 if you have, I've really appreciated. I'd really like to try and get the other, 369 before the end of the year, so I can hit that magic 1,000 number. But if you can help out, you can. If you can't, that's fine, not a problem. Leave a comment. I do read them all. I do try and respond to them all. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. It just helps me play with the algorithm for YouTube. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I'll be back tomorrow with yet another Tarkir card. Have a good one. Bye.